Alright, let's speak on the UFO stuff. Um, been quite a few sightings. Pentagon said a few things, and I think this rises to the level of me doing a video on the subject. Talked about it before. I don't talk about Jews. I don't talk about aliens. There's one thing I don't talk about. I don't do it because when you talk about these things, people don't take you seriously. And as I get older, I want to be taken seriously and I want to be respected. Uh, and I want people to know that they can respect me, they can count on me. And, you just certain things you do as a man, people will be like, oh, I don't know about him. You know, there's a movie I saw years ago. It's called The Day the Earth Stood Still. Keanu Reeves, 2008 film. Pretty good film. Pretty great film. And I'm probably the only person that would do a video and say I was cheering for the aliens. You call me bad guy, whatever. Uh, Basically saying that climate change is getting really bad and that the aliens are gonna just wipe out humanity to, in essence, start over. That they recognize, you could say this is liberal stuff, you could say it's propaganda, whatever. But they just realize that you're not gonna clean up your room, so we're gonna take you out of the room. Period. Um, and they talk about like how the aliens couldn't be for good because they knocked out our satellites and all this kind of stuff. And Keanu Reeves is like a messianic type character or whatever. He's like speaking with there's aliens on Earth, and he's meeting with them, and he's like, give me your report, in essence. And they've been living amongst the people for generations, upon generations and stuff. And they're like, that humans are not, they have their frailties, but that they still shouldn't be killed. Um, I thought that was stupid, and I thought that was soft. That was fucking soft. If climate change is a problem and nuclear weapons are a problem, and there's been sci-fi written on that. If there's stuff out there to where people using these weapons and using this technology hurt other planets, other alien worlds, then that means we should be confronted with that. I mean, I've said it before. I am convinced that at some point in the near future, we're going to have a multi-front. America's going to have a multi-front war with somebody. And I'm just looking at stuff Trump says or Biden said, and I just recognize that every decade or so we're in this, and that most Americans now don't care. If people aren't going to say, "Hey, we want to move beyond war," that we don't want to always be at war, then that means humans should be dealt with. Humans should become. I've talked about it. This is a cult. These are cultural issues. This idea of American empire and American imperialism, and that it's just normal and it's just okay, and that that's just what America does. If that's how Americans feel, and that's just normalized now, we should be dealt with. Period. And then, whatever that means. Um, I look at these. I'm gonna get into it in a second. I look at these videos and these pictures and stuff, and I felt like if, as Putin said, a sword of Damocles hangs over the head of every man, woman, and child. A sword of Damocles hangs over the head of every man, woman, and child. And then by accident or by madness, it could be unleashed at a moment's notice. I let's get to the facts here. Let's get to the facts. Now, before I go any further, I always tell you guys, in any matter, climate change, pollution, whatever, I don't really look at Republican politics with any value. I recognize that Republican politics now, a lot of it is about straw man politics, acting in bad faith, presenting false narratives that you know to be false, gay bashing, race baiting. This is the nature of the Republican Party, and I accept that now. This is just what we have. That you have a major storm, blackout storm, people are dying in Texas, and you come out and say, "Well, it's a Green New Deal." When that pass, that's literally acting in bad faith because you know it's not true, but you present it anyway because you always want to put things back on the left. You want to always put things back and calling people who are asking for federal funds that they're socialists. Wait a minute, caring for Americans in a disaster? That's socialism? I thought that was just caring for your neighbor. I thought that was the Beatitudes. Anybody? What is that? But I've talked about with these issues. I always look at the military. I look at where the billionaires and the trillionaires spend their money. I will always do that first. I don't look at the. I've moved beyond politics on many issues. It's about how they spend their money. Because Trump's pick for Joint Chiefs of Staff early on wrote a paper talking about climate change and what they need to do to get ready for it. Now, Trump's telling these crackers to their face it don't exist. But his guy, his highest ranking member of the American Armed Forces, is telling you not only is it real, it's a threat. And that climate change is a factor that will influence, that will deleteriously influence American military power. This is what I look at. These are the things I look at. So, government has reversed its official policy of publicly ignoring unidentified aerial phenomena. That's UAPs, and they are beginning to tackle the subject openly. New task force championed by Marco Rubio submitted a unclassified report. They said Navy pilots reporting a craft resembling a Tic Tac that was moving while unlike anything seen in the U.S. arsenal, wasn't behaving by normal laws of physics, descending from 80,000 feet to 20,000 feet in an instant. You try that shit, you're going to black out. I know that much. I'm not a physicist. Stopping in midair, reversing direction by inertial effects, succeeding the speed of sound without generating a sonic boom, and submerging into the ocean. New York Times, Washington Post reported on the 2017 along with the military secret UFO tracking program. And the Pentagon publicly announces here that the leaked videos and the stories were authentic. Recently retired. There was a Israeli general years ago that spoke about this. Hold on. Okay. Haim Eshed. There is life among stars. Humanity isn't ready to meet it yet. Galactic Federation secretly made contact with Earth. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into all this stuff. I think it's interesting to see these guys talk about this kind of stuff because they have something to lose. They have made contact with Galactic Federation. Humanity's not ready yet. Cooperation agreements have been signed between species, including an underground base in the depths of Mars, where American astronauts and alien representatives. Agreement between the U.S. government and aliens. They signed contracts. Let's do experiments here. Trump's aware of them. Waiting until today to humanity develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. This is why I watch foreign media. This is why. They can bullshit to Americans. People will buy it. People will believe it. But there's truth to be found. There's falsehood and there's truth. And then there's falsehood and there's propaganda. And somewhere in the middle there's truth. It's like I'm not gonna tell somebody whooped my ass. I'm gonna tell the story in such a manner that I look hard, I look tough. That's the way these things are. You have to dredge through the bullshit. I don't know if this stuff is true. I if that's true. Let's go back. Let's see. John Ratcliffe, former director of national intelligence, said there are a lot more sightings that have been made public. James Woolsey, former director of CIA, is taking the subject seriously. Let's understand something about aliens. It's like with the same thing with COVID. It's nothing wrong with being afraid of the unknown. Nothing wrong with being afraid of things you don't understand, because things that you don't understand can hurt you. Being afraid of the dark that's not totally bad, because bad things can lurk in the dark. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're a warmongering empire and you just want to maintain control of the world and everything that's in it, and you fear some outside foreign body, foreign agent acting upon, to destabilize what you're doing, it's a problem. Not a problem for me, because America's an empire. It should end. What we do should end. America should not have 800 bases all over the world. That should not be right. America should not be bombing 8 countries at the same fucking time. 8 countries at the same fucking time. America should not be waging 20-year-long wars on the basis of a lie. These things shouldn't happen. And the fact that this has become normal now, it shows you that our value system is skewed. So someone telling me from the establishment of national intelligence, telling me they're concerned about aliens, well, their concern is not my concern. That's important. Their concern is not my concern. According to Brennan, some of the phenomena we're seeing could involve some type of activity, maybe considered a different form of life. U.S. pilots saying something out there from the Earth. What bothers me is that when they start doing this, that means there's something going on. I mean, they got Operation Blue Book. They've been studying this shit for a long time. There's nothing new about studying space, phenomena. Nothing new about this stuff. They were studying back in the 50s, and with the thing of trying to make mockery of it. This is why I don't talk about this stuff. They were doing that then, and there's all kind of shit in Operation Blue Book. It can't be explained. It's the fact that they're talking about it, head of the CIA employee talking about it, and B, that there's so much activity now, that concerns me. And some people out here will say that that's just because of more cameras. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got good cell phones now. Used to be, you might have a phone, but it was blurry. You have good cell phones. Like even my S7 had a pretty good camera. I got a S9 now. But yeah, that concerns me. It makes me think that there's more than we know. I've talked about it in the past. I believe that it's a breakaway civilization. There's a secret science. There's a science that goes well beyond what we know. There is a car that runs on water. There is anti-gravity. There is deep 0-point energy. These things exist. And the fact that high-level people are talking about this, it's concerning. Let's see. UFOs. When scientists are asked about it, they laugh off it. Neil deGrasse Tyson only take the idea seriously. Aliens send him a dinner invite. Small cracks up here. Look, here's the other thing about it. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how many schools you've been to. When you talk about the U.S. intelligence community, the Western, the Atlantic intelligence community, you're talking about a different animal altogether. They know everything. They got their hands in everything. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if you got the grandson of Einstein up in here. When intelligence agencies start telling you about aliens and saying that this is a big problem, and the director of the CIA is telling you he's concerned. Something's going on. Something's big. This isn't conspiracy theory no more. Something's big. And I feel like if they are telling us now, then that means that maybe, see, when you're in politics or you could be the police chief, whatever, one of the key points of public relations is to always get ahead of the story. I'll say it again. When you're in high office, you always want to get ahead of the story, to manipulate it, to twist it your way. Because if you don't, and it gets ahead, it gets past you, you can't control it. When videos get leaked, when stuff is leaked, it's hard to catch up. It's cat's out of the bag, as they say. This makes me think they're trying to compose a story. And not a good one. It's something, once again, these guys, what the U.S. intelligence agencies really do, let's be honest. The job of the intelligence, job of the military is to keep the natural resources open to corporations. Period. That's what the U.S. military does. They don't fight for freedom. They don't fight for liberty. They fight to keep natural resources open. That's what they did in Guatemala with our bins. You want to nationalize your resources? Nah, fuck that. That's right. We're going to take your shit. Why? Because America. That's right. You want to talk about ATT? You want to talk about what happened in Iran with the Shah? That's what America does. They destabilize regions. They put in puppet government. You want to talk about baby doc down there in Haiti? You want to talk about what America does? Okay. That's American foreign policy. Destabilize the areas, put in puppet governments, and if that doesn't work, you wage a war. You start a civil war, what you did in Indonesia with Suharto. This is America's history. I just, I think that I used to listen to Coast to Coast when I was a kid. They talk about disclosure and all that stuff, and the day they're going to disclose this information. That may never happen. Even if aliens were flying over Times Square tomorrow, that may never happen. This is like the Merkin files and everything else. What is the Sun Tzu thing? What's the Sun Tzu say? By way of deception, we do war or something like that. That's how they do. And they're always at war. And they're always conducting deception, What a tangled web we weave once we practice to deceive. That's the American government. There's a show I used to watch. It's called Earth Final Conflict. And it's just talking about this very issue. It came out like 2000s. That the aliens land and they're like, people are like creating churches for the aliens, worshiping the aliens, and the aliens are like trying to help people, trying to create sciences and stuff like that. But they have secrets. And the story that comes out as it goes on, they have some serious problems that they want to enslave humanity. But one of the aliens is good, and he turns on them, all this shit. It's a good show. Good show. That is kind of the narrative there. That's kind of the narrative that would be suspected, that these people have unknown intentions, hidden intentions. Let's see. And let me say this. This is something that should be said, that should be brought up in any discussion about extraterrestrials. Any time in history, and I'm talking about white people here. I'm talking about, because I don't run shit. I'm a black man. I ain't got no power. Black people ain't got no power. Let's be clear about it. Black people ain't got no money. We have no power in this country. There is no black wealth. There is no black wealth. I want to be clear. They give you LeBron James. They give you these These bow tie wearing niggas. They give you something. They give you black celebrity to say, oh, well, things aren't that bad with black people. No, we don't have no wealth in this country. So this is about white people. I'm talking blacks. It's about white people. Anytime in history, I think about Christopher Columbus, the New World. I think about Piazza. I think I said Piazza. I meant to say Pedro Alvarez Cabral. I'm sorry. Landed in Brazil, and they claimed to it in the name of King Manuel I of Portugal. And they forced indigenous people to cut the trees. Anytime a advanced population, advanced society lands among a weaker one, slavery results. Things result. And one thing about white people are always thinking about that. That's something I learned. They're always thinking about payback. They're always thinking about stuff like that. Once again, we don't have any power in this country. Black folks don't run shit. What you got? You think? Oh, you got Oprah. You got Michael Jordan. Black folks don't run shit. You got Bob Johnson. You got. You know what you got? You got niggas that can sing and dance. That's what you got. You can sing it and clap your hands. That's what you got. We don't run shit. Once again, if extraterrestrials came and they were so advanced where they could cloak their presence or do what I've read on here about dropping from 80,000, 20,000 and going into the water and all this stuff, you're talking about some... You talking about some magical stuff there, man. Cause that right there, you black the fuck out. I know that much. If you drop from 80,000, 20,000 feet like that, you're gonna black out. You're gonna crash. You're not gonna survive that. And even with all the suits that, with the blood, no, you can't do that. You gray out. I think that that's significant concern. What are their objectives? What are their intentions? But I guess the point of this video is to make it clear that the goals, the fears of the Western intelligence community should not be the fears of the rest of us. Like I've talked about this China baiting shit. I am not at war with China. No one I know wants war with China. That's our greatest trading partner. That's the West. That's this Western chauvinistic bullshit of wanting to conquer, and I call it, it's like the ancestral DNA of we got to go bully people. That's them. That's them, man. I don't want that. I don't want a war with China. And it's the same thing with the aliens. These people want to maintain empire. Anything that threatens that is a problem. Period. They could come out here and walk on water. They could come out here and start cleaning up rivers. And they could clean the air in polluted cities and stuff. Doesn't matter. This man loves war. He loves his empire. And he wants to stay that way. And that's what I learned in the last 4 years of Trump. Is that they want an empire. That's what they think America's supposed to be. Those people cannot be relied on to give a clear and concise testimony in regards to extraterrestrial life. They cannot. Like that General Breedlove, when Obama was in office, the Air Force guy talking about on TV, so we need to start filling Russian body bags. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, he said we need to start filling Russian body bags and this and that. And he retired. They had him quietly retire behind that. You got some really sick characters in high levels of the American government. You got some really sick cats. And I don't think people understand that. These people love war. They delight in blood. They delight in the shedding of innocent blood. Period. Um, I just thought that this video was important. I thought it was important to take a second to speak on it. Just that no matter what happens going into the future, we should understand that the information relayed by the U.S. government and or its parties, its partners, its alliances, all that stuff, uh, should not be trusted. It should not be trusted because it's going to always go. See, that's kind of what I always thought about the movies, like Independence Day and Mars Attacks, like the movies that we think about, like in the '90s and all that, that were really, really space aliens are coming to eat our brains. Like I've always kind of thought, if they exist and they're like, okay, we need to have peace, the Western propaganda would be, you need to be afraid of them. They're coming to eat you. I always kind of privately thought that why is there so much? Why like I like the Journeyman Project. You know, the aliens talking about they want to have a planetary peace alliance and all that kind of stuff. And they would return to Earth in 10 years. They were going to give people a chance to make a decision about did they want to join the alliance or not. That's the shit I'm into. That's what I was interested in. But that don't sell. That don't sell. What sells is some monster crawling around trying to eat your brain. That's what people want to watch. Something trying to eat your brains and trying to take over the country. If nothing else, understand this. Our way of life is not sustainable. Period. And all this cockamamie stuff out here about how they can, shoot something up in the atmosphere to block out sun's rays and all this. That's not going to happen. And even if it happens, if people get sick from that, the right wingers are going to be like, see, it's depopulation. And even if it doesn't kill anybody or get anybody sick, all they're going to do is say, see, we have ways to scientifically alter society. And let's do more pollution. That's what happened. I'm telling you, this is how Americans think. I'm telling you, nothing will change. Nothing will change. You'll just be like, well, see, we can do this. It's like if bridges collapsed on my way to work, and I had some kind of way to just set stuff up to drive across it or whatever, I'm never gonna fix the bridge. I'm gonna just keep using that shit. Because my mind state won't change to say we got to do something about this for the future. This way of life is not sustainable. Nothing about it is. The way we think, the way we go to war, everything, it's not sustainable. Nothing about it is. And the culture isn't either. And you don't deal with that by fucking trying to guilt people with plastic straws and plastic bags and trying to beat people over the head about that. That's not the way to do this, man. That ain't gonna cut it. That ain't gonna get it. Like I said, I feel as though if there was extraterrestrial entity that wanted peace, that wanted to form some type of a interplanetary partnership, I think people at the highest levels of the U.S. political establishment would do everything they could to derail it. And I think you have so many people out here that are so fucking stupid that they eat it up with a spoon. You don't believe me? These folks ran out and within weeks of the quarantines with their guns and their vests on. Within weeks. This country is broken. Irrevocably broken. Irrevocably. And I think that's the best example I can give you of proving that. This country is broken. And you got a whole bunch of people that they want to go out and shoot somebody. They want to go out and kill somebody. So the video's gone on too long. Thanks for listening.